Hello and welcome to another edition of Food Chain with me, Jessie Eramadvakpo. Today we'll put our focus on smart snail farming and find out some of the innovations that farmers are adopting in a changing climate to maintain their farms.
There's a saying that out of passion comes something significant. I find myself into this because of my passion for environmental sustainability. After my university, I worked with a couple of organizations like EPA, Forestry Commission, Ghana Water Company, and then Ministry of Food and Agriculture. And one notable thing I realized is that sustainability has been an issue. So I decided to find a way in order to contribute to my quota. So I applied for university in Germany, the University of Koblenz, Landau. That is 2018. So I decided to register an organization that is co-partner with my brother, and the name is African Foundation for Climate Change and Sustainable Development. So you can imagine the name, Climate Change and Sustainable Development. I had admission and everything, but unfortunately financial challenge came in. So because of that, I was not able to pursue that. So I decided to, do something in Ghana. So I started by building, farmers, enhancing their resilience in order to adapt into the climate impact. Climate change is having a toll on the agricultural sector. So my first encounter was to construct a greenhouse for someone. But then before constructing that greenhouse, I went for the training with Agri House Foundation. I did online research, and I also did other training with other organizations as well. So my first contract was $10,000. After executing it successfully, I said, wow, this is why I didn't go to the university outside. So I need to pursue this dream.
Right. And
here we are today. Okay. Yes.
There are a lot of people venturing into the greenhouse farming, but why snails?
Okay. We are not typically into snails alone, but ideally we are getting more contract in snail because it is the new booming venture. It was initially ignored, but statistically, as we speak now, Ghana will consume about 15,000 tons of snails every year. But unfortunately, we are able to supply locally 2,000 tons, meaning that the 13,000 tons we import it. Meaning locally we've not quenched the demand, and so therefore we need to help, meet all this demand. And one unfortunate aspect is that we cannot rely on the natural ecosystem, that is the forest alone, to get the snails, because we are all aware of what is going on. Climate change has disrupted the agricultural sector, and the place that is wet enough to breed snails, they are all dry, and most of them are flooded. So we need to leverage on artificial ecosystem, creating an ecosystem or environment that is synonymous or similar to that of the natural environment.
We've been here for a few minutes, but tell us what went into building this greenhouse.
Well, a lot of things, thoughts, calculation, analysis, survey has come into play in siting this greenhouse. The first thing we need to look at is the direction of the wind. Yes, because as I said, climate change has impact in whatever we do. So siting of the site, we need to look at the direction of the wind. Then we need to also look at the soil, because snails, they do well in sandy, loamy soil, because they are animals that are nocturnal, meaning that they only come out and they are very active during the night. So we look at the soil that is good for them. Then we also look at the materials. In building, we also look at the material that we can withstand corrosion or erosion, and that's of the rust. So sustainability needs to come into play, and then also we need to look at the vegetation canopy. Yes, so there are lots of factors that come into play.
All right. How big is this greenhouse? What's the size?
This greenhouse is 50 by 100 feet.
Okay.
So almost one plot. Yes, let's see, one plot. Yeah.
But it can be bigger than this.
Oh yes, you can even build it on maybe 1 acre land or 2 acres. So the land that you think you want to give it out for snail, you can just construct this incredible fully automated greenhouse for you.
Okay, I see that the greenhouse is divided into zones.
Yes.
What's the reason for that?
Okay. So the zones are, considered because of taking of data to be easily, and then also moving inside for data collection to be easily. So in the morning or anytime you come in and you are walking around, if you suspect something, you can know that, oh, this thing happened, at zone A or zone B or zone C. So for easily data collection, not necessary to serve as a barrier for the movement of the snails. No.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little about the snails.
Okay.
At what point did you bring them in, and how long before they are good enough for consumption?
Okay. So the snails that we brought here, we call it Achatina or Achatina, depending on the school you attended.
Okay.
Yes. So the Achatina, we brought the size that is called point of lay, the POL. The POL are those that can lay more. But before we bring the POL, we need to allow here to be fully grown, because they are going to depend on the vegetation to feed. Although we bring them some supplement, but here need to be fully grown. So what you see here is 3 months old vegetation, and we brought the snails just last week, Saturday. So here is to house 10,000 snails, but then because of multiplication,
Okay.
one snail can lay approximately 250 eggs per season. That is times 2, meaning 500 eggs, and they are all going to hatch. So the carrying capacity will be too low for them. If I say carrying capacity, I mean the ability of the snails to depend on the vegetation,
Right.
which will be not enough. Yes. So because of that, we brought 3,500 snails. And because the season is off, they are not going to lay eggs now. They will start laying eggs somewhere February, March.
Okay.
Yes, that's why it's important you do calculation to know when the supply of the snail will meet the laying season. Yes, this one, the supply of the snail was a bit late.
Okay. Snails depend very much on vegetation, but what alternative feeding methods are you using?
Okay. So we have a feed supplement we give them, and it's made up of 6 different food ingredients.
Right.
I can give you 3 of them. The remaining 3 is my trade secret. So we have moringa powder, we have soya beans, and we have maize, and another 3 ingredients. But because it's a supplement, it is well prepared to help them boost their productivity, and then also make them more resilient by giving them more energy. So that one we give them 3 times a week. You can also decide to give them every day, depending on the stage that they are. For instance, if they are laying eggs, you need to feed them more with the calcium.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how else do you take care of them, apart from feeding them?
Okay. So the good news is that here is fully automated, meaning that taking care of them is easier.
Okay.
Let's take, for instance, you are not in Ghana and the project is yours. You can control the irrigation system outside the country, Ghana, or wherever you are. And you can also monitor. We have CCTV camera that you can monitor everything that is here. So taking care of them is quite easier. So you only need one manager who sometimes comes here to give them the alternative feed.
All right.
Yes.
What would you say is a major challenge in this farm, smart snail farming, actually?
Well, that's no major challenge, but then the operating of the automation, you need to be a bit technocrat. That means you need to be somebody who can operate smartphone.
Okay.
But it is something easy to learn. And let me talk about the challenges in general. Has to do with how you can able to detect disease, among the snails. Predominantly, we have nematodes or bacterial infections. These are some of the common diseases that affect them. But this farm is not having any of these diseases because of how we took time to treat the soil.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, this is a long-term project.
Yes.
In the event that happens, what are some of the methods you are looking at to sort of address the situation?
Good. So the most important thing is you need to be monitoring them with time. At least a week you need to come around to inspect the farm.
Yeah.
And when you suspect anything like bacteria or nematode infection, you then probe further to isolate them. Yes, you isolate them before it's spread. But all depends on how you're able to treat the soil. Once the soil is well treated, hardly would you experience this thing in the farm.
Okay. We know that we are in a changing climate.
Yes, of course.
The rains come and they go.
Yes.
How are you ensuring that the farm is irrigated on a regular basis?
Okay. So, as I said earlier on, this is fully automated greenhouse. We don't depend on rainfall. We have a storage tank, water storage tank, that is connected to the pipe, pumping machine, and that's of IoT devices. That's enable us to irrigate the place. Okay. So you can see we have sprinklers all over. So whether it rains or not, we are able to control the irrigation system, and that is why it is climate smart technology we are using.
But what temperature would you say is safe and ideal for the snails right now?
Well, right now I think a temperature of 25 to 40 is okay. But however, it depends on the season and then the stage of the snail. In the case where you have juvenile snails or small ones, baby ones, you need a temperature below 30 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
Yes, so that they wouldn't die out of stress or heat.
Okay. So this is a smart snail farm, all right. But
Yes.
what other innovations are you employing here at the farm?
Okay. So the main idea is to promote climate change adaptation and climate change mitigation.
Okay.
And by doing that, you also have at the back of your mind that we are also promoting SDG Goal 1, 2, 3, and 13. So let me talk about the adaptation aspect. You know, because of the climate change, farmers these days are having a lot of challenge in terms of their yield. So we are making use of the little space they have. And when we construct the greenhouse, we also incorporate sustainability or adaptation aspect of it. For instance, you can see pawpaw, you can see other trees like mango, you can see a banana and plantain planted here. Is to ensure sustainability, because it will make the soil temperature low, it will boost the nutrient level, and these are all adaptation mechanisms. And at the same time, it also has mitigation synergies. This is because this pawpaw that you see here, because something carbon mitigation or carbon sequestration, that is able to sequester carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And in a year, this pawpaw, for instance, will be able to take between 10 to 20 kg of carbon dioxide. So we are also helping tackling climate change, and we are also promoting sustainability or adaptation. And all these fall within the SDG goal. 1, which is no poverty; 2, zero hunger; 3, good health and well-being; and then 13, climate action. So all these things are, done solely to meet or promote this.
Right.
Yes.
So apart from, we all know that snail is a source of protein for humans,
Yeah.
but what other benefits is there from snail farming?
Okay. Snail is, I could say that it's a green gold because we also have something in it called slime.
Right.
The slime is the white liquid that is being extracted. And the good news is that you can extract the slime without killing the snails. It's like donating blood. After donating the blood, you will not die. But the most important thing is that you need to be able to access the snail, whether after the extraction, it will be okay.
Right.
So once you extract the slime, then the snail move around. And the slime too is very, very expensive. Yes. We can all do a research to know the cost of 1 liter of slime. Very, very expensive.
But what are people using it for mainly?
Well, ideally, the slime is used for cosmetic purposes. Yes, the pharmaceutical or cosmetic industries, they make use of it. So we have a machine that is able to extract the slime easily without killing them.
Okay.
Yes.
How profitable would you say smart snail farming is, and why should people go into it?
It is profitable if you look at the input compared to the output. Yes. Although there's a saying that garbage in determines the garbage out. But this one with insignificant cabbage in will give you significant cabbage out. This is because one snail, as I said earlier on, can give you about 1,000, let's say approximately 1,000 or less eggs, and out of that, let's say 500 of them will hatch to become juvenile snails, and we can all go to the market to ask of the price of snail these days. 3 snails can give you 100 cedis, but in the dry season you can get like 50 cedis for 1 snail.
Wow.
And if 1 snail can be able to give you averagely 500 snails in a year, and you're able to take care of them, let's say 300 survives.
Okay.
That's a lot of money. That's why I call it the green gold.
Okay. But do you think we are producing enough to meet the demands?
Unfortunately not. That's why statistically Ghana we consume about 15,000 tons or even more of snails a year. But unfortunately we are able to produce locally only 2,000 tons. So where are the 13,000 tons coming from? We need to import them. So the demand locally is not even quenched. That's why there's more need for investment in order to meet the demands.
The place looks irrigated. How do you do that on a normal day?
Oh, okay. So the irrigation system is powered by IoT devices. So we use an app. It's fully automated.
Right.
Okay. So this is the app. You can see that I have different apps on the phone. So we use this one. Now you can see I've on it.
Yeah.
So off it and listen. Good. Once you just have to press it once.
Okay.
Then it go off. See, it's off.
Okay.
On it again. Now it's on. You can see the sprinklers are working.
All right.
Yes. So with this one, because it's fully automated, wherever you are in the world, you can control this.
Okay.
You just have to know how to use the smartphone. That's all.
All right.
It's easy to also control.
How many times do you have to do this in a day?
Well, ideally, depend on the weather condition. So in a day like this, you can do it one morning and then one in the evening.
Okay.
Yes, because we are smoothly getting to the dry season,
Yeah.
getting to November. So the temperature these days is a bit higher. In the rainy season, somewhere June, July, because of the rainy season, that one you can irrigate the place maybe 3 times a week.
What are some of the considerations when setting up this greenhouse?
Okay, so we look at the environment, we look at the soil, and then we also look at the vegetation canopy.
Okay.
And then we look at the topography of the land, whether the land is, a wet land, and then even if it's wet land, what can we do to prevent it? We need to create a barrier or something. And what is the height or the topography, as I said earlier on? Yeah.
Okay.
The greenhouse.
I see that there are some plastic things around this.
Good.
What's the reason for that?
So, as I said earlier on, because of the climate change, our rainfall pattern has changed and our temperature also has increased.
Right.
So because of that, because this metal is conductor, a very good conductor of heat, it has the ability to transfer this heat into the soil, and as a result increasing the soil temperature. So we covered it with this rubber to serve as a barrier or insulator to prevent the movement of this heat into the soil. You can see this raised bed. This is made from bricks. The reason why we use bricks to do is that the snails like calcium very, very well, and if you use blocks, they are going to mistake the block for calcium, and this affects their digestive system. So we use the bricks to do the raised bed, and the raised bed is done to enhance sustainability, because when it rains heavily, the here can be flooded, although we have drainage systems. But because we don't want the snails to be affected, here seems to be a bit waterlogged. We need to do inside like this by incorporating the bricks to, do the raised bed. So that is why here it's like this. What you see here, we call it hideout. The hideout is purposely done. You can see we are using black rubber to cover it. It's to make it waterproof, because it's made of wood. If we irrigate consistently, it will rot. So we use the rubber to make it waterproof. And this is where sometimes the snails can hide. If they realize that the environment is a bit hotter when it's yet to be irrigated, they'll go and hide there.
So I can see a machine hanging by the rail. What is that used for?
Okay, thank you very much. So this, we call it hygrometer. What it does is that it reads the relative humidity in the greenhouse, and also that of the temperature in the greenhouse. So right now we have a temperature of 33.3 degrees Celsius in the greenhouse, and then also relative humidity of 99%.
Okay.
It is 99% because we just irrigated this place. And the reason why we brought this hygrometer is because of the climate change. There has been a change in the weather pattern, and this virtually affects everything that we do. So we need to have a way to monitor our projects very well.
How is it powered?
So this one depends on battery. So there's a battery inside.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that this whole greenhouse is solar powered.
Yes. It's solar powered because, you know, as I said, we are to promote climate change adaptation and mitigation, and so therefore we can also contribute to another emission by using generator to power our things here. Because of that, our CCTV camera is solar powered, and then our IoT devices which control the irrigation system is also solar powered.
All right. So we've been speaking to a climate expert who is into climate smart agriculture, and he has been sharing with us some of the innovations he's exploring here at a smart snail farm. This has been Food Chain with me, Jessie Eramagbakpo. See you on another episode.